What's going on, sports fans, NFL fans, wherever you may be, however you may be listening? I am your host, Amari Sports, here at No Offseason Media. And here in today's video, we're going over the Week 2 picks. Before I get started, don't forget to leave a like, don't forget to comment and subscribe for more content available. And don't forget to click the notification bell wherever it may be. Click that and it will notify you whenever I post a new video. But anyways, let's get it started. Thursday Night Football on Prime Video, wherever you may be watching it. We have the Kansas City Chiefs against the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert, who is 2-0 in Arrowhead Stadium, against Patrick Mahomes, who has a record of 12-2 in September games in his career. In this one, the Chiefs are favored by 4.5. I like Kansas City to win this game and to cover against the Chargers. No Keenan Allen, no just JC Jackson. It's going to be a major issue in that wide receiving core and secondary. I do like the Chiefs offensive line, even though they put up 44 points against the Arizona Cardinals. But also, when it comes to the Chargers, I don't know what I'm getting from this team, because they were up big against the Raiders and somehow in the fourth quarter did not score that much and kept the game closer than it should have been with a score of 24-19. I like the Kansas City Chiefs to advance to 2-0 and beat the LA Chargers. And Patrick Mahomes has a record of 3-1 on Thursday night primetime games, whether it's at home or on the road. The last time he lost his game on Thursday night, it was against the LA Chargers with Phillip Rivers as quarterback back in 2018. So I do like the Kansas City Chiefs to win and beat LA 30-23. The Cleveland Browns have a chance to improve to 2-0 for the first time since 1993 as they host the New York Jets in their home opener. The Cleveland Browns are favored by 6 points according to Vegas. And in this one, in my prediction, I have the Cleveland Browns to win in the cover and advance at 2-0. The Jets have a little bit of QB issues in their locker room right now. Joe Flacco is going to be starting in this game against the Browns, and I don't think he's going to do well against that defensive secondary, including that front seven. The Jets' offensive line is very bad. The Cleveland's defensive front is very good. It spells mismatch written all over this, and I think that we might have a potential blowout, because we have seen this some time and time again. Whenever the Jets have their starting quarterback not play, they only muster field goals, and that's it. And we have seen this last week when the Jets have played against Baltimore. And so this one, I only have the Jets coming with field goals instead of not even getting any touchdowns. So I do like the Cleveland Browns to go in and improve to 2-0 for the first time. And I think that they slam the door on the New York Jets. I have the Cleveland Browns beating the New York Jets 23-6. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers open as 2.5-point favorites against the New Orleans Saints, despite the Saints are having a perfect 4-0 record against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the regular season. And in this one, I am taking the Saints to not only cover the spread, I am taking them to upset the Buccaneers. First of all, as I said, they're 4-0 against the Tom Brady's Bucs. So since Tom Brady has got there, the Saints have always had his number. Number two, the Saints are coming back home for the first time since last year when they beat the Carolina Panthers at home. Number two, I don't know what I'm getting from Tom Brady. We've seen this in Sunday Night Football. He only mustered 19 points against Dallas's defense. Now, could that be because Dallas' defense is very good? I don't know. But as time will tell in the later in the season, we'll get our answer about what Dallas is. And we're going to see what their answer is on Tom Brady and this Buccaneers team. Julio Jones looks like an old man out there, even though he's getting himself back into groove and getting his whole entire wide receiver routes in gear after missing a whole entire year because he was on the Tennessee Titans roster. I like the Saints to upset Tom Brady's Bucs for a 5th straight time in the regular season. Saints win 27-24 and beat Brady's Buccaneers. With a gutsy call, for the first time, the New York Giants open up as 1-0 for the first time since 2016. Now they're favored against the Carolina Panthers by 2.5 points. I'm going to take the Panthers to upset and win against the Giants. Number one, the Panthers should have won that game in week 1 against the Browns. But the problem was holding calls really cost his team from winning that ball game. And Baker did everything he can to make sure that the Carolina Panthers will come out victorious in that game. And it took a rookie kicker in Cade York to hit like a 58-yard field goal just for the Browns to beat the Panthers. But anyways, why a number one reason why I cannot take the Giants at home, despite beating the Tennessee Titans on the road and becoming favorites, is because Daniel Jones is awful at home, okay? Daniel Jones in his career has 17 touchdowns and 19 interceptions at home in his career. But on the road, he has 30 touchdowns and 11 picks. So he plays way worse at home compared to on the road where he plays phenomenal, and we have seen that late comeback against Tennessee. In this one, Vegas having the Giants favored by 2.5 is just a complete mistake. And I'm just going to take the Carolina Panthers to bounce back from that loss against Cleveland, and I think that the Carolina Panthers will win this game. So give me the Carolina Panthers to beat the New York Giants and go and improve to 1-1. Give me the Panthers to win 20-17 Panthers. So let's recap. I have the Chiefs to win in the cover. I have the Browns to win the cover. I have the Saints upsetting the Buccaneers, and I have the Panthers upsetting the Giants. Despite losing in Miami yet again for the past couple of years, the New England Patriots now travel to Pittsburgh, where they're favored by 1 point against the Pittsburgh-Steelers. And in this one, I'm going to take New England to win with the 1 point and to cover against the Steelers. TJ Watt is out for the foreseeable future for right now due to having a torn pectoral injury, and he may not be having surgery as news has came out. But in this one, I do like New England. Since 2010, Mike Tomlin has only beaten Bill Belichick once, and that was back in 2018. Other games, he has pretty much been blown out, or Belichick has had pretty much Mike Tomlin's number. And from last week, Mitchell Trubisky really was efficient enough to help the Steelers beat the Bengals. But let's keep in mind, if you watch that game, the Bengals should have won that game if they would have made the PAT at the end. And the Steelers be 0-1 right now. So I do like the Patriots, despite Mac Jones having back spasms. The Patriots always had the Steelers number, even with Big Ben Roethlisberger at the helm, or whoever is Landry Jones, or whoever the quarterback may be. Give me the Patriots to win in a low-scoring game, really low-scoring, defensive slugfest. Patriots win 17-13. The Colts are 4-point favorites against the Jacksonville Jaguars, despite losing 7 straight times on the road in Jacksonville and in London. The last time they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road was 2014. And now they're favored by 4 points, according to Vegas. I'm going with Jacksonville to upset and to beat the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts tied the Texans last week, so now they're 0-1. Okay? The Colts have always showed us that they always are a slow start team. And this one, Jacksonville, if Carson Wentz kept being Carson Wentz, they actually could have pulled out that win in Washington. But the Jaguars have always had the Colts number, and whether it was Urban Meyer or Doug Marrone or even Gus Bradley, they always have beaten the Colts. And in this one is Doug Peterson. The last time Doug Peterson played against Frank Reich, Doug Peterson was in Philly, and Frank Reich was the coach of the Indianapolis Colts, and Frank Reich beat them when Carson Wentz first came back from injury in 2018. I think that Doug Peterson knows what he's doing against Frank Reich and could do with the exact same thing he did back in 2018. And in this one, despite Matt Ryan being the quarterback, and he has showed some resurgency in the fourth quarter, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will still win this game, and I think Trevor Lawrence will get familiarized with the system and playing very well against the Colts. So I really like the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat the Indianapolis Colts, and I'm going to have the Jaguars win, let's say 23-20 against the Colts. The Ravens are favored by 3.5 points, according to Vegas, against the Miami Dolphins, and the public is all over Miami. This line started at 4, now it's moving down to 3.5 and potentially shifting down to 3. I like the Ravens to win this game and to cover against the Miami Dolphins. Number one, these games in week 1 can kind of shed some light about how everything is really going. But against the Patriots defense, we have thought is going to be a very bad defense and kind of hit and miss. Tua only managed to score 13 points against the Patriots defense. One was from a touchdown, from a 4th down and 7, which is pretty much the end of the first half, where Jalen Waddle broke off and got a home run touchdown. The other 2 times were field goals because Tua's efficiency was very lacking and couldn't do anything about the Patriots defense. The Baltimore Ravens defense is better than the Patriots. And my number two reason why I'm taking the Ravens is because since the Ravens have moved to Baltimore and became the Baltimore Ravens, the Dolphins have never beaten the Baltimore Ravens on the road since 1997, and the quarterback was Dan Marino. So that's another reason why I like the Ravens here. And the Dolphins have seen Lamar last year, but their defense last year was lacking because they had a whole bunch of injuries. So I like the Ravens to win and to cover against the Miami Dolphins, despite having Tua, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle, and an excellent defense that they were able to manipulate against the New England Patriots. So I do have the Ravens winning, let's say 27-16 over the Miami Dolphins. The Detroit Lions, who seem to lose every single home opener, is now at home again, and now they're playing the Washington Commanders. And Vegas has the Lions favored by 2.5 points against Washington. I'm going to take the Lions to win this game and to cover and get their first win of the season. Carson Wentz is 0-2 in his career against Detroit. Okay? And it doesn't matter if the head coach is Matt Patricia or then Detroit coach Jim Caldwell. Carson Wentz has struggled in his career against Detroit. Okay? And number 2 is because I like the Lions front four. I think they're going to complete feast all over this Washington offensive line. You couldn't tell me anybody was on the offensive line other than Andrew Norwell. And the only reason why I even remember who he is because I played Madden. And I'm talking about Madden back in the day, not the new Madden now. But anyways, I like the Commanders to lose this game to the Detroit Lions. And I think that Detroit will win this game. And I think that we're going to be happy about everything in Motown because the Lions are finally back and they're finally winning ball games, right? So give me Detroit to win in the cover and beat the Washington Commanders. Detroit wins 26-23 over Washington. So let's recap. I have the Patriots to win in the cover against the Steelers. The Jacksonville Jaguars to upset the Indianapolis Colts. I have the Ravens blowing out the Miami Dolphins. And I have the Detroit Lions beating the Washington Commanders. The Seattle Seahawks, who are coming off a Monday night win against the Denver Broncos, who pretty much played the Super Bowl, is coming against a team against the 49ers who got their butts beaten in a monsoon in Chicago. And Vegas has Trey Lance and the 49ers favored by 9.5 points. Give me the Seattle Seahawks to cover, but I think that the 49ers win this ball game. Number 1, the Seattle Seahawks played the Super Bowl last week, so they may come out flat. That's what I do worry about. But I do not trust Trey Lance. I still don't. If Jimmy Garoppolo was playing this game and becoming the starter quarterback, I would take the Niners and the 9.5 or 10 points, whatever it is, in a heartbeat. But in this one, I'm going to take Seattle. I think Geno Smith is going to be just efficient enough to handle the 49ers. And the problem with San Francisco is that their pass defense is completely putrid. Okay? The 49ers were up 10-0 until they allowed the Bears to score 19 unanswered points and to put the game away. And Trey Lance only had like a 54% completion percentage, which is completely bad. That's around Cam Newton numbers. Okay? So the San Francisco are awful offensively when Trey Lance even plays. We have seen that in 3 of his starts. One was against the Cardinals, the Texans, and the Chicago Bears last week. And I just like Seattle, and I like that defense. They could come out flat, as I alluded to, but I'm comfortable with Seattle and the points. So give me the 49ers to defeat Seattle Seahawks and keep it close, but I think they will win this ball game at the end. 49ers win 24-21. The defending champs are now going against the defending lead blowers, Rams and Falcons. The Rams are favored by 10.5 points, according to Vegas, against the Falcons. I'm going to take the Rams to win this game and the Rams to cover. Number 1, the Rams just got their teeth kicked in, okay? Number 2, Sean McVay is well coming off of losses. In his career, he has a 17-8 career record when coming off a loss. Okay? And that was a horrible loss that I've seen from Sean McVay. I think it was the worst since that debacle against Baltimore back in 2019 when they got put on Monday Night Football in prime time and they got their butts kicked 45-6. But I think against this awful Atlanta Falcons defense, I think that Sean McVay and his team will rally back after a humbling loss and pretty much put all their frustration out on the Atlanta Falcons. And Atlanta Falcons defense is not that good. Offensively, Mariota, he is efficient enough, but I don't think Mariota's going to win many ball games. So give me the Rams to beat the Atlanta Falcons 33-14 and improve to 1-1. Broncos country, let's ride to 0-1 against the Houston Texans, who have tied for the first time in about a while. But anyways, Vegas has Russ's Broncos favored by 10 points against Houston, despite losing in Seattle. All the public is going to be betting the Broncos to cover that number of 10 points, right? I'm going the opposite direction. Give me Houston and Lovie Smith's defense to cover, but I still think Denver wins at the end of the day. This is Russell Wilson's first game coming back or playing actually in Denver. And they were 0 for 4 in the red zone last week. And I don't think that's ever going to happen again. But we need to do a head coaching check on Nathaniel Hackett. The Broncos organization just paid this man $200+ million. Okay? If it was Tom Brady, it was Peyton Manning, Phil Rivers, or even just Patrick Mahomes. Nobody in that situation, if you have to go on a 4th down and 5, and knowing that you put your field goal kicker out from a 64-yarder, nobody, if you had those great quarterbacks who actually kick that field goal in that situation, they actually be going for it. And with Russ's situation, this is an indictment on Russell Wilson. Okay? But I think against Lovie Smith's defense, who I love Lovie Smith as a coach personally, I think he'll do well against Russ's Broncos, against a newly refound coach in Nathaniel Hackett. I think the Broncos will win this game, but not cover, because the betting public is going to be all over Denver. Give me the Denver Broncos to defeat the Houston Texans, but fail to cover. Broncos win 24-16. Viva Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Raiders are favored by 6 points against the Arizona Cardinals. I like Raiders to win this game and to cover against Arizona. Arizona's defense is completely bad at this point. Secondary, awful. Pass rush, awful. They didn't even sack Mahomes one time last week. Awful. It's just so much issues. Kyler has so much issues with getting the ball down to his receivers. He was down big late and couldn't bring his team out of that hole. That defense has allowed 44 points now on their record. And I think that they're going down to the Death Star, which is Las Vegas. And the Raiders crowd is so happy to see Devontae Adams for the first time in their building. I think the Raiders will do something against this Cardinals team, and they're going to blow them out, and I think they're going to win by double digits against us. Mark my words. But what makes me think that they're going to go by double digits is number one reason is that Cardinals offensive line is completely awful, and you have to deal with Max Crosby on one side and Chandler Jones on the other side, which is an ex-Cardinal, by the way. So he knows how to scramble and get to these mobile quarterbacks. He does it with Kyler in practice, Russell Wilson with the Seattle Seahawks. So I like the Raiders to win and to cover against the Arizona Cardinals. Raiders win 30-20. So let's recap. I have the San Francisco 49ers narrowing a win against the Seattle Seahawks. I have the Rams to win and to cover. I have the Denver Broncos squeaking out a win against the Houston Texans, but fail to cover. And I have the Raiders winning big against Arizona. The Dallas Cowboys, who have lost their franchise quarterback for 6 to 8 weeks with a thumb injury, are now at home yet again hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, as the Bengals are favored by 7.5 points. I like the Bengals to win this game and to cover against the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys defense was phenomenal last week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Held Tom Brady, got an interception. Pretty good, but their offensive issues are really deteriorating this part of the team. And I think that in this one, you're playing the Cincinnati Bengals team, who have completely played awful last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who could potentially won that game in overtime. Actually scrapped that, not even win in overtime, just win it at the end of the buzzard. But they didn't. And now they're favored by over a touchdown. I actually like the Bengals a lot. And I think they will not let that happen again, what happened last week. Because Joe Burrow turned over the ball 4 times. And keep in mind of this, will sack 7 times against that Steelers defense. I don't think that's going to ever happen again. The Cowboys offensive line is bad, and I do not know what I'm getting from Cooper Rush. We've seen Cooper Rush last year against the Minnesota Vikings, and yes, he pulled it out against primetime woes Kirk Cousins. The Cowboys' record without Dak Prescott is 5-7, and the first game that Dak Prescott was out in 2020, they got blown out 38-10. So I like the Cincinnati Bengals to win and to cover against the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what I'm getting from them offensively. That's the only reason why. Bengals win 23-13 over the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World. Sunday night, NFC North battle between the Chicago Bears and their owner, the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers open up as 10-point favorites against the Chicago Bears. I like Green Bay to win this game and Green Bay to cover. I think they're going to blow out the Chicago Bears because the Chicago Bears are not good offensively despite winning against the 49ers and scoring 19 unanswered points. But if anybody who watched that game realized the monsoon is what really helped the Chicago Bears, because I think the 49ers were wearing down pretty much really bad when the weather started to get worse in that game on Soldier Field. I like Green Bay to win and to cover against Chicago. The Packers win 31-19. On a Sunday night, I think blowout in my opinion. 2 primetime games on Monday night. The first one, the Tennessee Titans and the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are favored by 10 points against the Tennessee Titans. I like Tennessee to cover, but I like Buffalo to win. Tennessee has always had Buffalo's number for the past couple of years. Buffalo has started 2-0 against Tennessee when Mariota was the quarterback, and since Ryan Tannehill has arrived, the Buffalo Bills have not beaten the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry has always had himself a day whenever he plays against the Buffalo Bills. Derrick Henry averages 83 yards per game against the Buffalo Bills, including 1.5 touchdowns if pretty much whenever he plays. And last year he had 3 touchdowns. The year before that, prior, he had 2. The Buffalo Bills are having 11 days worth of rest as they beat the Los Angeles Rams last week. But I do like the Buffalo Bills. I don't know what I'm getting from the Tennessee Titans offensively because their wide receiving core has been really bad since the trade of A.J. Brown. So give me the Buffalo Bills to defeat the Tennessee Titans. Buffalo wins 26-17 over the Titans, but fail to cover. The last one is the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Philadelphia Eagles are favored by 2.5 points. And I like the Minnesota Vikings to win this game and to upset the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 1, Kirk Cousins is 3-2 in his career against the Eagles in Philly. Whether he was with Washington, no names or R-words, or the Minnesota Vikings. And in this one, I really do like Kirk Cousins because number 1, Jalen Hurts in his career has struggled against winning teams, whether they have a winning record or potential playoff teams. But I really like Minnesota. Minnesota really showed me a lot. Minnesota has some struggles stopping the run because they weren't able to do that against A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. But overall, I still like Kirk Cousins winning this ball game at the end of the day. I can see Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson having a great day against this Eagles secondary, but I really like Kirk Cousins and how the way he progresses and plays really well against the Eagles in his career. So give me the Minnesota Vikings to defeat the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. And the Minnesota Vikings win 31-27 as they upset and win against the Philadelphia Eagles. Anyways, thank you, sports fans or NFL fans or whatever fan you are. Thanks for listening to No Offseason Media, however you're listening or wherever you're listening. Thank you for tuning in. Until I see you again, this is Amari Sports signing off. Hey, I know you see that subscribe button, and I know you see that notification bell. Why don't you just click it? Go ahead. And if you want to tune into more videos, just go ahead and look at this new video that I just posted right here, or go see some of my playlists on this channel.